bitch like I wanna see her form. Yeah, yeah, all this money on me. Yeah, yeah, cash rolls all around me. Yeah, yeah, all this money around me. Yeah, yeah, cash rolls all around me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You must be tough out of your luck, huh? I'm that go-to when she down to come through clutch, huh? Sit brown till I'm flush time. I drip, drip, real plush, huh? Internet tea off a blue pill. Head grip stack of the blue cheese. Turn that to a bag in a new crib. Nice big spot by the seaside.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who the host is. You are listening to the Rated R Safety Show. Today's Tuesday, August the 24th of 2021, day 236 of the year, and only 129 days left. Can you believe that? Only 129 left to go. Anyways, hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse. Yes, I did say the multiverse of Safety FM. So thanks for coming out, hanging out first thing in la mañana. And we're also hanging out with our friends, over there at that other place where we do things at, that other fun place that we do fun stuff at, that place.
Radio Big.
Yep, Radio Big, let's see, often imitated but never duplicated. That's for sure. Anyway, so let's get you started into what is going on first thing in this morning. Teamwork is important. Okay, good to know. So let's get you started to what is important going on first thing in la mañana here. So we're going to get you moving and grooving. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on inside of the world of the news, because I know some people are out there wanting to know what's going on. So if you're new to the show, let me kind of explain the layout of the land, because that's normally kind of the easiest way to go about doing these things. What we do is we bring on some professional broadcasters. They talk about what is going on inside of the world. So they give their discussion, talk about that. I come back and give you my opinion on what they had to say. So that's kind of the fun part on how that works. And then we normally start talking about what is trending.
Duh.
So if you were looking at what was going on, with it being Tuesday, let's talk about that real quick. So with it being Tuesday, let's talk about the top 5 songs in each category. That be it iTunes and Spotify from number 5 to number 1. So let's go backwards session here. At number 5, according to Spotify, was Olivia Rodrigo with Good For You. With number 4, it was Manskin with Begging. At number 3 was Ed Sheeran with Bad Habit. At number 2, Lil Nas X with Industry Baby. And then let's see. At the number 1 spot was The Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber with Stay. And according to the other side of the equation, if you take a look at what iTunes had to say, Jesse James Decker should have known better at number 5. The Kid and Justin Bieber would stay at number 4. BTS with 2-3. Yeah, that's 2-3. At number 2, Ed Sheeran with Bad Habit. And at the number 1 spot was Fancy Like. So there you go. So yes. So a lot of stuff going on. So just in case, depending on where you're hanging out, if you're on the radio side of the house, You can come out and hang out on the streamer. If you don't want to hang on the streamer and you want to stay on the radio side of the house, that's perfectly fine as well. All you need to do is contact 866-930-SFM1 if you want to interact with the show. That's 866-930-SFM1. Shoot over your text. We'll take a look. We'll talk about them. If you're inside of the actual box, inside of the streaming stuff, you have a better chance because I get very easily distracted. It's not a hard thing to do. Believe me, I totally get it. So let's get you moving and grooving. Let's talk to our friends at Feature Story News, see what the hell they have to say. And we'll get that moving and grooving right away here on the Rated R Safety Show. So maybe we should take a listen to what the news has to say. What do you think about that?
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Benji Hire. The UK, France and Germany will today urge the United States to keep its forces in Afghanistan beyond the end of August to continue evacuations out the country. President Joe Biden is committed to a 31st of August deadline for withdrawing US troops. However, amid the scenes of chaos at Kabul airport with thousands trying to escape, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is leading calls for an extension as he chairs a virtual G7 meeting on Tuesday. The Taliban has said this would be a clear violation of an agreed deal, and Britain's Defence Secretary Ben Wallace admits an extension remains unlikely.
This is the Taliban we're talking about, and I think what they're trying to say. You agreed on a 31st deadline originally. I think the August 31st was a selected deadline originally by the United States, and I think they expect us to stick to it. They may change their mind, and we'll see what the G7 does today.
After a devastating second wave claimed millions of lives, the spread of COVID-19 in India is finally slowing down. But a new study is warning that India's vaccination pace could mean that in just a few months, the country might see hundreds of thousands of new infections daily. Neha Punia has more.
At the peak of its deadly second wave, when more people died in India than anywhere else in the world, the country's hospitals were overwhelmed and most Indians couldn't access medical care. Now, a committee of government experts is warning unless India can boost its vaccination program drastically, a third wave could be even more devastating. The study forecasts India could record an unprecedented 600,000 infections a day and that a third wave could peak around October. It says daily infections could reduce to 200,000 if the government is able to successfully execute its target of administering 10 million shots a day.
And the Paralympic Games will kick off in Tokyo on Tuesday evening, delayed by a year because of the pandemic and played behind closed doors with the exception of a small number of school children allowed to attend. Yet the opening ceremony is being held amid a backdrop of rising COVID cases. Phoebe Amoroso reports on the challenges that lie ahead for Japan.
The government is asking hospitals to secure beds for COVID-19 patients and accept as many of them as possible. The government can now name and shame institutions for not complying. Many hospitals in Tokyo are small private clinics, which lack the resources and the staff to treat COVID-19. Currently, more than 25,000 people are recovering at home due to the lack of hospital beds. The growing crisis comes as the Paralympic Games are set to begin. Around 4,400 athletes and thousands more officials and stakeholders are visiting Japan for the event. The organisers have admitted that they are facing a very difficult situation. They have tightened their virus countermeasures, such as increasing the frequency of testing of people going to and from the Paralympic Village.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, an eyewitness account from Poland's border with Belarus, scene of reportedly forced migrations of Belarusians into European Union territory. The authorities in Warsaw say they're going to build a security fence along the border now and double the number of troops posted there after the EU accused Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko of...
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals. Some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you. Hey, come in real close. I got something to share with you. Not everybody has a beautiful head. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can pull off the shaved head look. Hey, I'm not digging on people. I'm just bringing it up. Some people out there are losing their hair. Now, I want to tell you about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time that they are 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. Keeps offers them both. Keeps offers a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor consultation and medication delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't even have to leave your home. Think about that. There's other things that you have to leave your home to be able to pick up, not with Keeps. They have low-cost treatments that start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. It's discreet packaging and proven results. Now think about this for a moment. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 5 months to see results. So act fast. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/safety to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/safety to get your first month for free. keeps.com/safety. Now just remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head like mine.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this. You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
9 years we've known.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. 14 minutes past the top of the hour, and boy, do we have to talk about it, because let's not pretend here. What's up with the news cutting off? You know what I'm saying? I love when you get the feed and all of a sudden it stops working in the middle of the feed. Talk about satellite connections on how those things go on. Anyways, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. We are still hanging out here on this fantastic morning, and some interesting things going on inside of the social media chat box. calm it down, Tigers, calm it down. I mean, I appreciate, the love being shared, but geez, man, taking it to the extreme. If I may say so myself, but hey, you do you, and I'll do me, and we'll go from there. Anyway, so let's talk real quick. More than 40 people were wounded in 29 shootings in Chicago over the weekend. 40 people were shot and 7 were killed between 6 p.m. Friday night and 11:59 Sunday. The CPD announced the victims range in the ages of 14 to 68. No word of any arrests have been made. So that's Chicago alone. So just think about that. American and Southwest Airlines joins in the Afghan evacuation effort, freeing up some of their fleet to aid the withdrawal from Kabul. American deployed 3 wide-body planes to the U.S. military bases to help transport refugees who were flown to Kabul by the military aircraft, while Southwest sent over 4 flights, according to Fox Business. The airplanes are part of the Civil Reserve Air Fleet, which will help ease the pressure on U.S. military forces as they evacuate thousands of Americans and Afghanistans from the Taliban takeover. So what do you think here? What do you think when it comes to that? Following you on Twitch, should I do the same on YouTube? That's entirely up to you. That is entirely up to you, mi amigo. So there you go. Just some things to think about. So a lot of stuff, like I said, coming on into the box. So what do you think about this going on with Southwest and taking a look at what American Airlines is doing? Do they even refer to themselves as American Airlines anymore? Or is it just American? I mean, I'm not sure. So there you go. I mean, it's just interesting taking a look at some of the things that are going on for sure as we go around and about and all that kind of fun stuff. I mean, I guess we can continue to talk about what's going on. Let's see what we can find out with further detail as we get into this. Anyways, vaccination that children are required to get ward off disease such as polio, measles, tinnitus, and whooping cough are the way behind this year. The lag was caused by the pandemic related to disruption of the routine care and children wellness exams, which is the kids usually get when they get their immunization. So think about that real quick. Parents are now scrambling to get their kids up to date with their shots so they don't have to miss school or become vulnerable to contagious disease. Worth noting, this is just another unintended consequences of last year's lockdown and fear-mongering, according to the writer here, of surrounding COVID-19. So what do you think about this as we are talking about it? As you know here, we're talking about the vaccines themselves and people actually taking them, opposed to actually it just being a vaccination standpoint and immunization of not taking place. Because you already know that there are certain vaccinations that are out there that you cannot go to school for, or your child can't go to school for, or can't go to school without. It should be probably the better statement there. So as you take a look at this, where do you think this is all leading? Do you think that a lot of this was caused by the pandemic? Because doctors' offices were still open, and if you still had your normal standard medical practitioner, at least in this area, it wasn't like you couldn't go to them. It was just a reference poisons at the time. So what were you seeing in your neck of the woods? So that's always the good question to come about and ask and so on. Anyways, China has reported no new locally transmitted COVID-19 cases yesterday for the first time since July. The country was been grappled with the spread of the Delta variant since July the 20th, when a group of airport cleaning staff and Nanjing tested positive. Since then, they have spiraled into the worst outbreak since the beginning of the pandemic. Local authorities responded to the surge by placing tens of millions of residents under strict lockdowns and rolling out massive testing and contact tracing campaigns since then. Local authorities responded to surge by like I said, by placing them. So what did you think that actually looked like at the time? I mean, that would be the thing. For sure. And for the past week, daily infections have been steadily falling, dropping from the peak of more than 100 for 2 weeks. So there you go. Over 1.94 million domestically made vaccinations have been administered in China, according to the National Health Commission. So what do you think? What do you think there? Some things to think about for sure. I mean, I don't think that we can go into that conversation without talking about other things, without going, okay, so if this is becoming a thing now, how do we move forward? Because that's part of it, always part of it. You know this. I know this. We'll have this conversation day in and day out, regardless of what's going on. So when you take a look at it and you hear about this, what comes to mind immediately? Anything? I'm glad we're sharing a stream, if that's what you're saying. But I mean, we have to continue to talk about this, because the thing about it is, as we take a look around and go into it, did I lose this news story? I think I lost this news story that I was looking for. When we start talking about it, that's the portion that we're always going to be wondering. It's like, how do some of these things go from such high numbers on one day and then lower to the next? Because that's what we're taking a look at, for sure. For sure. I mean, do you disagree? Not agree? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you the question because you're definitely going to know better than I do. No, there's the news story. No, seriously. So think about that for a moment. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things, because that's always important as we do so here. 2 months after firing over 150 unvaccinated hospital staff, Houston Methodist is on one of the several hospitals that are experiencing shortage due to medical personnel. Media reports that the Houston area are reporting a surge of COVID-19 cases and how the hospitals are struggling to keep up due to the shortage of nurses. Medical tents have been set up to access COVID-19 patients, but they are vacant because there is no one to man them, according to the local news station KAHU Channel 11. Hospital administration said vaccine mandates in place to increase vaccination rates. The unintended consequence was the shortage of nurses that actually came about because of that. So what do you think as I mentioned that? What comes to mind right away as I reference, hey, all of a sudden, because there was a mandate of the vaccination, all of a sudden it became a shortage with your nurse staff. It became a shortage with some of the medical practitioners because of this. So when you start hearing this, do you think that this was cause and effect that they knew that was going to happen? I mean, it becomes a weird story for me as we start talking right away, because I don't think that when people put some of these policies into place, and you can apply this anywhere, that they realize that some of the outcomes that might actually come about. They don't realize some of the outcomes that will take place. I mean, like, take a look at this. So all of a sudden now there's a shortage. Patients who are deathly ill or injured would likely take any nurse available, regardless of their vaccination status. And I'm just throwing that out there as a point. So I get it and I don't get it. I mean, if that makes any sense, and I'm sure it doesn't, because it kind of seems like I'm playing the line here. But think about that for a moment. Think about this whole standpoint of, if you're not vaccinated, you can't be here. And then all of a sudden now you're complaining that you have a shortage. It's kind of it's a mix of both worlds, if you think about it there for just a moment.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, let's get some Johnny Smalls inside of here, because it's always a good time when John's around for him to talk about what's going on inside of the market. So let's bring him forward right now and get that moving and grooving.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. The bulls came raging out of the gate Monday, driving the S&P 500 up more than 1% to set a new all-time high. On the eve of the Fed's Jackson Hole, Wyoming conference, a conference that could change the tone of the market for the second half of the year. There's little expectation the Fed will signal a major policy change, but the commentary from individual members could sway the market sentiment. Also on tap this week is the Fed's favored indicator of consumer-level inflation, the PCE Price Index. The consensus estimate is for consumer-level inflation to rise 0.3% over the past month, 0.1% lower than the previous month, and for year-over-year gains to tame as well. With the Fed leaning more and more towards tapering, a hotter-than-expected number could easily lead the market to believe Fed tapering actions will occur quicker than currently forecast. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. Appreciate you sharing the information there for sure. Anyways, what we found on our end, based on some of the information that was shared, of course, Wall Street moved higher on Monday as the Dow rose 215 points, the Nasdaq lifted about 227 points, and the S&P gained 37 points. It was a 28th record high close for the Nasdaq Composite this year, or this calendar year, better saying. Major manufacturing benchmarks reported data during the session. Both the U.S. Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index and the U.S. Services Purchasing Managers Index missed their forecasted expectations. The results are widely blamed on supply chain constraints as measures of activity remain high. Pfizer and biotech were up 2.4% and 9.6% respectively during the session after the virus shot was granted full FDA approval. So there you go. There's that information there. Anyways, let's continue talking. Starbucks is ready for fall. The coffee empire pumpkin spice latte and pumpkin cream cold brew are available starting today. It does not include the pumpkin spice enemas. The two seasonal bakery items, a pumpkin scone and a pumpkin cream cheese muffin, are also available. The PSL has been the popular item in Starbucks menu for nearly 2 decades. More than 500 millions have been sold since the introduction of 2003. I don't understand the pumpkin spice craze. I really don't. I mean, I take a look every year, and I don't understand why people lose it about pumpkin spice. I don't get why people are like so lovey-dovey about this whole thing. It just makes it kind of go, what is going on here? I mean, I just think about it and go, what's so good? I really don't get it. Anyways, on Saturday, a racehorse escaped the Ellis Park racetrack in Henderson, Kentucky. They took off down Interstate 69. The 2-year-old, named Bold and Bossy, I guess that sounds kind of fitting, got lost on her way of the starting gate after bucking off the jockey Miguel Mena. According to the Associated Press, the race was supposed to be the first, but apparently the B&B wasn't ready. She was eventually caught at Ellis Park, horseman and a police officer. So there you go. No horse escaping right there as we're talking. Okay, an underground ring of arm wrestling has taken over New York City. Have you heard about this one? After gyms were forced to close last year due to the pandemic, Nikolai Anorkov started building an arm wrestling mecca in front of his family's Brooklyn's home. The DIY arm arena took over about 2 months to build. $300 and numerous Home Depot trips. This is what they shared with the Post, but it was built. The challenge did come. His setup became such a hit that Anonsky took his arm wrestling gear and headed over to Coney Island, where he had his amateurs take over their best shot at beating him at arm wrestling. I mean, I guess this is something to do with your time. New York Arm Wrestling Association President Jack Arias told the Post that the sport has become more popular than ever. Didn't they make a movie called Over the Top many, many, many years ago with Sylvester Stallone? Wasn't it popular then? And a lot of that has to do with people trying it out during the pandemic. So hold on. If you're not supposed to be inside of a gym during the pandemic, then you decided to go around somewhere and hold hands with some other dude in regards to test your might, I don't get it. I really don't. Just saying.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Hey, I'm just saying, don't get mad with me. Anyways, it is 28 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's talk about this real quick, because I did mention it during the NASDAQ composite and the Wall Street market stuff. So let's talk about it now. The FDA has granted full approval to Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for individuals 16 years and older yesterday. The approval paves the way for the vaccine to be mandated to the 1.3 million active duty service members. The vaccine is the first COVID-19 shot to be given the full approval. So that becomes something that we're going to start seeing more and more of. And I think that actually ties us into, right now, if we really think about it, also into our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Pfizer full FDA approval and what it means for COVID vaccine mandate. So this is going to be the conversation, if it's not already happening inside of your workplace. but it will become the conversation going forward. And I think that we need to talk about it because it's going to be one of those very interesting things. On Monday morning, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, granted full approval to the first COVID-19 vaccine, a significant milestone for the ongoing fight to end the pandemic. 8 months after its issuing emergency use authorization, the EUA, to the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, followed by millions of shots in arms across the United States and other parts of the world. The FDA gave their final and highest stamp of approval to the 2-dose vaccination for 16-year-olds and up. Though the review process, the process ahead of granting EUA for Pfizer vaccine, which will now be marketed as a combinary pronounced Cormier-Katek. Yeah, good luck with that. Was extremely thorough. The one to the full FDA approval was even more exhaustive, with the evaluated scientific data and information included of hundreds of thousands of pages conducted by their own analysis. We'll just say the Pfizer safety and effectiveness and performance detailed assessments and manufacturing process included inspections and of the manufacturing facilities. Dr. Peter Marks, director of the FDA Center of Biologist Evaluation Research, said in a statement. So in addition to bolstering the confidence of those who have already received the vaccine, full FDA approval brings into new rules regarding on how and when the vaccine may be used, in some cases required. And also required. But the COVID vaccines remaining highly politicized has been yet to be seen whether the approval will have a real impact on country sluggish vaccination rates. So this is where it's going to started to get real interesting in regards of when people are going to start having this conversation on what they should be doing with the vaccine. So is now the time to go out there and get there, get the vaccine. In an interview with NPR's Mary Louise Kelly a few hours after the FDA's decision, Dr. Anthony Fauci sounded hopeful about the potential impact of having COVID vaccine with the full FDA approval. Here's a look at what will change on how the COVID-19 with full approval will look. So here you go. So take a listen to this, because this is what we're going to talk about. More widespread vaccine mandates. One of the most visible and wide-reaching consequences of the Pfizer vaccine receiving full FDA approval will likely be an increase in COVID vaccine mandates. While some states and local governments, private corporations, healthcare systems, universities, and school districts have already implemented vaccine mandates, full FDA approval for COVID vaccine means more will follow suit. It certainly makes it easier for employers, schools, etc. to mandate the vaccine, says Dr. Howard P. Foreman, professor of radiology and public health and the director of health management program at Yale School of Public Health. Wow, tell me that's not a mouthful. While they have seemed to have no legal problem doing so before, it offers much easier historical defensibility after full approval. Indeed, within minutes, the FDA of granting full approval of Pfizer vaccine, announcement of new vaccine mandates began rolling out. One of them came in New York City, which will now require all Department of Education employees, from teacher to administrative staff, to receive at least one dose of the vaccine prior to the September 27th, noting that weekly COVID testing is not an alternative to vaccination. This is according to the New York Times reports. So what do you think here when you start hearing about this? Because you know that all of a sudden this is going to become a very interesting scenario when it comes to other places, when it comes to employers, when it comes to other things. So let's continue with this. Unsurprisingly, there has even been legal challenges to the vaccine mandate mounting across the country since they were first introduced. And for those involved, today's FDA approval is a major blow. The biggest defense of having full FDA approval of COVID vaccines is that this will take away most of the lawsuits against vaccine mandates, says Dr. Dorit Rubenstein-Ress, a professor of the University of California College of Law, where she specializes in vaccine law and policy. Most lawsuits against the university and employer mandates highlight the vaccine's EUA status, and approval removes that argument, and that makes the cases very, very hard because they have a long history of vaccine mandates in the United States. So what do you think here? Are you saying now we're going to see more and more places have this mandate? I mean, I'm just asking you the question because you're going to know better than I do. So the possibility of label use. So let's talk about this. Along with Pfizer to actively market this particular drug to the public via TV commercials and other forms of advertising, today's announcement of the FDA also carries its possibility of off-label use of the vaccine. In other words, it gives doctors the ability to prescribe the vaccines for reason beyond its approval use. Two potential scenarios, including giving booster doses and prescribing the vaccine to children under the age of 12. Foreman says the boosters are most obvious off-label use to the newly approved COVID vaccine, 19 vaccine, including situations where physicians prescribe the dose of the Pfizer vaccine prior to the official start of the booster rollout on September the 20th, announced by the White House last week. In addition, we could easily imagine boosters being offered to shorter intervals, for example, 5 months as it is being done in Israel, and versus 8 months as is being inclined to for the U.S. as they're endorsing right now. The Pfizer vaccine is currently available to children between the ages of 12 and 15 under EUA. This age group, which also has been studied in separate clinical trials, was not included in the full FDA approval, though it is expected to get it once review of the data from the trial is complete. Off-label use for children under the age of 12, however, comes with some concerns. We are not seeing data under the age of 12 yet, and caution the judgment of group until they actually have the data. Foreman, I have no reason to believe that there is a true younger individual, but think that it's prudent to have the data. So I don't know where to go with this, because there's so much stuff to talk about. There's so much stuff to consider now that this has actually been mandated. So previously, when we were talking about under EUA status, it was easy for us to sit back and me have the conversation and you kind of hang out with me and we go over and say, okay, well, now it's not a mandate, so you need to do what is best for you. I still think you need to do, some things here that are pretty interesting. But now what happens when all of a sudden, if you're working at a place and they tell you that this is a requirement for part of your job, for you to actually have this, what will you do then? What will you do in that scenario? How does this look if you're an HR person and you're taking a listen to this? If you're an HR manager, an HR assistant, an HR anything, what does the policies and regulations now look like inside of your neck of the woods on how this is going to go? Because this is going to become a very interesting conversation, and this is not going to go away anytime soon. As you'll see, this one got approved. Your next will probably see more than likely the Moderna one to be approved. I don't know what they're going to do with Johnson & Johnson in that particular regards. But here's the thing. What do you do now if you have not been vaccinated to this date and all of a sudden it becomes a mandate? It's going to be some interesting times coming forward. So the question becomes the same question we started off with. Is now the time to get the COVID vaccine? That's something to think about. But what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes you're out and about and sometimes you have to access a report, maybe your bank account, maybe something that's important to you, but you don't want other people to be able to access it? I know you're probably sitting there for a moment going, well, why don't you just go into incognito mode and use that instead? Well, let me tell you something real quick. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browser's history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you visited. And that's why even when I'm at home, I never go online without using ExpressVPN. It doesn't matter who your internet provider is. It can be Verizon, Comcast, or even AT&T. The ISP in the U.S. can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites that you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the times, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background and is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is available on all of your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for you not to be using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit my exclusive link at expressvpn.com/safety and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/safety. expressvpn.com/safety to learn more.
Fuck who you think you is, you got me in a mode. Where I'm from, we live and die by the code. Either that or sell your soul to get a roll. That boy Joy, she wanna see the Forbes like I wanna see her form. Tell me what you for, yeah. Hey, they pay me what I'm owed, yeah. All this money on me. Whoa. Yeah.
Okay, this is Black Boy Joy by Tilden Park.
All this money around me.
And this song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Thanks to Tilden Park for allowing us to play this one. Okay, so there you go. It is 43 minutes past the top of the hour. You know, when we go long in the main story, we just go long, and that's the way that it goes. So a lot of stuff. I mean, definitely a lot of stuff still going on with this and talking about what is going on with the COVID world and the vaccination and all that. So let's continue talking a little bit more about other things that are going on that's still going to tie into some of the stuff that we were already talking about. So here you go. A study is warning that most of the face masks won't stop COVID-19 indoors at a crowds event, but your best bet is the R95, N95, and the KN95 face mask. I know that we spoke about this briefly yesterday, but we didn't cover the KN95. So the study found that most cloth masks don't do the job, but when it comes to stopping the spread of coronavirus within closed spaces, researchers from the University of Waterloo simulated a person breathing a large room with a cloth mask. Despite the mask, a large group built an aerosol droplets that was found suspended in the air. High-efficiency masks such as the R95, N95, and the KN95 were found to do at least 6 times better than the filtering aerosols compared to the commonly used surgical mask, and finding also emphasize the need for proper ventilation. So there you go. Some things to think about. We don't need to rehash this, but we'll talk about it one more time. The U.S. Food and Drug Association has issued a plea for Americans to stop taking the drug used as the dewormer in livestock to prevent COVID-19. In a tweet, the FDA says, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Seriously, y'all stop it." That was followed by the link of the page saying that the FDA has received multiple reports of patients who have been hospitalized for self-medicating with livermectin intended for horses, despite the lack of any scientific evidence that livermectin is efficient treatment for COVID-19. Some have cited it as the alternative approved vaccine for public health measures like physical distancing and wearing masks. Do you ever have the feeling that the human race is utterly doomed?
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, if you're going to go for it, I mean, just might as well go for the vaccine at this particular point. I mean, why in the hell are you going to be taking some horse stuff just to see if you could make it better for yourself? I mean, I don't get it, but hey, you have to do what you think is in the best fit for whatever the hell you have going on. That's for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick about some other things. Febreze has come up with a new way to fool your guests into thinking that there actually is a clean house. A scratch and sniff scent, fabric spray. Using their breakthrough touch active scent technology, Febreze is rolling out Unstoppable Touch fabric spray. As you know, regular Febreze spray, which isn't going away anytime soon. You can spray all you like, but once the ocean breeze scent disappears, you're left with the usual smell of a wet dog or last night's fish dinner or whatever. The new Febreze Touch supposedly stores its scent in fabrics. The idea is that to spray your couch, your pillows, curtains, and other soft fabric, and the smell will be released when somebody touches it. A press release from Procter & Gamble says that it think that scratch and sniff taken to the next level. I'm totally going to use this stuff in my cat box and just watch how I surprise Fluffy, because I'm sure that's going to go over well. Air fresheners are like politicians. They don't solve the problems. They just cover them up. That's something to think about. Coming soon, Febreze Scratch and Sniff Deodorant. Look for it at a store next to you.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, 2/3 of us are a little bit obsessive about where we relax. The study finds that 2,000 people finds that 66% of people have their favorite spots in assigned seating throughout their homes. In fact, that there are so much loyal to their favorite spots that they argue with another family member about sitting in their spots twice a month, whether it's a kitchen table or dad's recliner or the family couch. 68% said they are very passionate about their spot. The survey conducted by OnePoll also found that about 55% of people feel uncomfortable sitting anywhere else besides their favorite spot. Why they are attached to certain spots, 63% say that they're associated with positive memories, which are particular areas of a piece of furniture inside of their home. So what do you think happened on this piece of furniture that has made them happy memories occur right there? I mean, that's one question. Also, as of 37%, no one else will sit in the chair because the outline is worn out of that person's body impression. That's probably the other one. My favorite spot, whether it's where everyone else isn't at, is normally the way that it works inside of my house. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so before we get too far along and go away and vanish and all that kind of stuff, I think that we need to bring Johnny Smalls in one more time and let him tell you about the Motivation Minute. And let's get with that started right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Casey. Tyler Not Gregson said, "Oh, what we could be if we stopped carrying the remains of who we were." So true. Thanks for submitting that, Casey. How many times have we gotten beyond something, but then we still let that thing slow us down? I've been there myself. Been tangled into things that I'd rather not be involved in. Then, when we were victorious, I still let that slow me down for a few years. I'm doing my best to put it behind me, but there are still times where somebody will bring it up. Now, I'm not going to avoid it, but I'm also not going to dwell on it either. It's time to move on. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. Really much appreciated. It reminds me quite a bit of a book that I'm reading as of late, or should I say a book that's being read to me as of late, because I normally don't read books. I have the machine read it to me. Because that's what ends up taking place. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world here as we are hanging out this morning, with it being 50 minutes past the top of the hour. Here in the next few minutes, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. So if you want to come and hang out with me, all you have to do is go to, on your browser, to radiobig.fm, and you can come and hang out with me. Or you can go to the Live 365 app and hang out and do the things that you do. Anyways, no winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $270 million jackpot or $196.7 million cash payout. So there you go. There you go. Just some things to try out and take a play if you want to do the game. I mean, that's entirely up to you. So what happened last night? I mean, didn't they have some kind of drawing? I think last night was another drawing. Didn't we talk about that yesterday? Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Let me take a look real quick. Let's see. Back in 2019, Prince Andrew's name is first connected to Jeffrey Epstein. The royal denies knowing his friend was involved in any sexual trafficking of underage girls. Andrew would later be accused of sexual assaulting a teen that he met through Epstein. So there you go. Some other things that are taking place right there. Talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Let's see. Arian Foster turns 35. Chad Michael Murphy turns 40 today. John Green turns 44. Dave Chappelle turns 48. Reggie Miller turns 56. Marlene Matlin turns 56. Cal Ripken turns 61. Stephen Fry turns 64. And Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yeah, the guy from the CEO of WWE. He turned 76 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays going around and about and all that kind of fun stuff. If you're looking for a reason to celebrate today, let me give you some of those reasons. Today is National Maryland Day, National Peach Pie Day, National Waffle Day, Iconic American Restaurant Day. So there you go. There are some reasons to celebrate if you're looking to do so. Anyways, if you did not know, now you're going to know because I'm going to share it with you. So here you go. Health officials in the UK are asking people in the medical field to stop using their term breast milk and instead use the term inclusive terms such as chest milk or human milk or chest feeding. Has been suggested to replace breastfeeding. The move was made by officials at the parental units to the Brighton and Sussex University Hospital to be more inclusive of trans and non-binary birthing people without excluding the language of women or motherhood, according to new guidelines. So what do you think there? So chest feeding, human milk, and no breastfeeding. So what do you think? Do you think that will catch on? I'm just asking the question. Because, I'm always curious what you think out there and what will end up happening. Because it's always an interesting time. Anyways, before I get too far into this, let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Know that you are not alone, whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, you can go to afsp.org. That's afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Hey, listen, we all go through struggles from one time or another, so make sure that if you are struggling or know of someone who's struggling, to have them go to the American Foundation for suicide prevention. I'm going to tell you, it's always key to be informed on exactly what is going on. Let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world. Let me give you some whack facts real quick. The world's shortest escalator at the mall in Japan has a vertical height of 2 feet 8 inches. It has 5 steps and takes about 8 seconds to ride. So there you go, if you didn't know that. Disney World is roughly the same size of San Francisco, 43 square miles. Wearing headphones for an hour can increase the bacteria in your ear by 700%. I think we're totally screwed for us people that go to the gym. Yeah, I mean, I wear my headphones the whole time I'm there, and it's definitely for over an hour that I go a week. Let's see, only one out of every 3 people has 20/20 vision. Bananas are slightly radioactive. I think we've said that before. There is no single word for the back of the knee. Think about that. What word would you use for the back of the knee? Are you thinking? Are you giving it some thought? What came to mind? I know. Think about it.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's give you some scoops of BS real quick, just for the sake of doing so. There's a study suggesting that people in relationships are healthier than singles, but keep in mind that they're also more miserable. So it's a draw, really, if you really think about it. I just read that more than half of Americans 65 or older are now use the internet. They decided to get online when they found out that it was every single episode of Matlock was available on there. WWE CEO Vince McMahon is 76 today. He'll celebrate it with a birthday cake he claims that he made with real chocolate, but everyone knows it's fake. Fact of the day, phobophobia. Yeah, phobophobia is the fear of having a phobia. Sounds to me like a very complex if you really think about it. Do you even left? That's a cute one. I like it. So thought of the day real quick. The only person in this world that that will never hurt you, never lie to you, and never make you cry, and always be there for you, well,